Okay, so it seems like recently there's been a little bit of a situation going on with Zentreya and a game that you guys probably know pretty well. Obviously, Final Fantasy, the obviously MMO Final Fantasy, which released obviously a lot of different things, including cosmetics and stuff for people to get. But it seems like a lot of fans of Zentreya and also Zen has pointed it out on stream as well that some of the designs that they've released recently looks very, very similar to some of her designs for her VTuber model. Not obviously some of her newer ones, but some of her older ones, which she has had for years. And yeah, I think it is pretty crazy how similar these kind of designs are. And I just kind of wanted to talk about it, get into it, and talk about what Zen had to say about it, because it seems like obviously the fans are kind of calling it out a lot more. It seems like Zen is very, I guess, non-confrontational about it. She doesn't want to start any kind of drama with the Final Fantasy devs or whatever. It just seems like, she's saying, this does look like my design, but I'm also not going to, try to, be funny about it or anything like that, which, again, I think is definitely the best way to go about it, at least, with all the drama that she's been in recently. I would want to avoid anything like that. But yeah, obviously, if you guys don't know, these are some of Zen's designs. Obviously, this is just one of them. You got the red, black, and green kind of design. And this will also get shown a little bit later on as well. And Final Fantasy came up with this. This is their new stuff, which they call an Eastern Techno attire. That's been added to the Final Fantasy store online. And yeah, this is what they've got. They've got like these jacket things, which have like a red, green, and black kind of accents with a little bit of grey and stuff as well in there as well. So yeah, many people have been calling this out, essentially saying that this looks very similar to a lot of what Zen's designs look like, because she also has this kind of techno style design too. And obviously, I don't think it is to say that Zentreya owns the entire techno style, but I think it is worth just kind of pointing out the fact that, hey, these do look pretty similar. And I think that if at a very, very minimum, they've taken a little bit of inspiration from her designs, right? And again, obviously people saying Final Fantasy dropping a secret Zentreya collab, then dude, even more people saying, wait a minute, with a gif of Zentreya. And yeah, Zen actually looked at this on stream, pulled it up, and talked about things. And this is what she had to say about it.
It's just very odd, I guess. Because this is my design. And I've had this for a year. I've had this for years. I've had this design for years. Obviously, I'm not, like, a Scrooge. I'm not a Scrooge about the fucking stuff. Like that, but like... Just caught me off guard is all. It definitely caught me off guard, man. And then there's also my jacket design too.
Yeah, obviously, she goes into it saying that she doesn't want to be like a Scrooge or whatever and try to say, yeah, they 100% copied my design and whatever and tried to, ruin it for everybody. But I do think at the same time, there is some questions to be asked about the similarities of the design. For example, this kind of spinal thing at the back of the jacket here, you can see this is definitely represented on the back here. I think the one that kind of sticks out most to me is the little tags that they have hanging off the back, for example here, which also have a very similar text. Zentreya literally says Zentreya, I'm pretty sure, on there, or at least something similar to Zen. It says Zen, something or other. Anyways, it does have like the starting Z on the back of it as well, which I do think is a little bit odd. Obviously, they haven't copied it one for one, as you can tell with these designs. They've got different under things, but I think with the jacket and the accents and a lot of this kind of stuff, which has been like written on it, I think they have taken at least the minimum kind of, I guess, some kind of inspiration from it. I don't know. I don't know if you call this 100% copying, because again, as I said, she doesn't own the techno kind of brand, or I say brand, like genre, I guess you would call it, genre of clothing. But obviously, I think there is some points to be said about like the kind of color choices, the text choices, and how they've really chosen to kind of design it, because I think it goes beyond just the color and the jacket itself, but also things, as I said, it goes down to like the text and the different kind of small little symbols and accents, which feature quite heavily on Zen's design as well, which I do think obviously is something to be kind of pointed out there. And yeah, obviously Zen pulled it up on stream and thinks, they have at least taken some aspects of the design here too. Also, she pulls up the merch as well, which she also had coming out, which is a bomber jacket, which looks very similar as well to some of the stuff that is on this kind of jacket here too. You can see, for example, this like little, I don't know what you call it, like a tag, has the pretty much the same look as, what is on the game one here. But again, I do think it is just a very interesting conversation to talk about, because is this something that we're going to see happen more in online games? Because I don't know if there's really any protections that they can do against this, or if Zen can really take any action against this, if this really was that egregious, right? Because again, obviously, will there be more stuff in the future of games like Final Fantasy and other games too, yoinking VTuber designs or whatever, and using them as outfits for their characters? I wonder if that is going to be a trend that we're going to start to see in stuff like Final Fantasy, and whether these VTubers will actually, decide to take action against it. Now, as I said, I'm not sure if there is enough here to really take action, or to really call anything like majorly out, but I do think it is very interesting. I think it is very, it's one of these things that is just something to keep an eye on. I think it's something to look at, because obviously Final Fantasy isn't in the best place either. Whenever I looked through the quotes here, there wasn't as many people talking about the Zen design, but a lot of people talking about the elephant in the room, which I'm pretty sure is something to do with the actual experience of the game. So it seems like the players aren't already happy with Final Fantasy at the moment, and maybe they're trying to cut corners. And honestly, I do think that could potentially be the case, right? If they're not happy with other stuff, what else are they cutting corners with in terms of designs? Are they just yoinking VTuber designs to cut corners and save time on designing their own designs because they can't be bothered, right? Again, I'm not sure. Maybe that could be the case. Maybe that couldn't be the case. I don't know. I think it is just an interesting topic. And obviously, many people seem to also think that, hey, this is very similar. People saying they got the Zentreya drip. At Zentreya, they got your drip in Final Fantasy. Also, people saying, okay, who at Square Enix is a Zentreya fan, because this just dropped on the Final Fantasy store, which is, again, is here. And this is the character that's wearing it. And these are like the designs for the lower half. And yeah, you can see it is very, very similar. And people saying, I'm sorry, but your character looks like Zen and heavily did a fusion dance. People saying, that's not my character, that's from the store page. People said, that's what I said. It looks more like, it looks so much like it was based on her. They said, well, I can say for a fact, if Zen ever plays Final Fantasy, this might be a set that she would use for the glamour, since it's basically the colors she uses. Now, again, I don't really know if this is a case of, hey, this is all happy and nice, and hey, I can't believe they added these colors into Final Fantasy. I'm sure Zen would love this. I don't know if that's the case. I feel like Zen doesn't sound exactly happy there. Obviously, it's hard to tell behind the AI voice, but, it seems like, she's not exactly the most pleased about them obviously yoinking a design, or potentially yoinking a design. So I do think that's something to kind of pay attention to. But yeah, I mean, as I said, it's kind of up to you whether you think this is kind of, at least taken or inspired or whatever, to whatever extent that you think it is. Because again, obviously a lot of things whenever it comes to designs and copying, and we've seen this so much in the VTuber space too, obviously people saying they copied their design, obviously if they are like a similar kind of character, for example, they're both whales or something, and then they're like, oh, you copied Shy Lily, or you copied this person. It's like, okay, bro, we don't really need to get into this, right? And that happens so much in the VTuber space. So again, I can also see it happening in a context like this as well. Again, I think there is different kind of levels to this, but obviously Zen, did bring it up on stream and talked about it for a couple of minutes, pointing out some of the similarities, which I do think, obviously, she is right. I think she is right that there is a lot of similarities. It's just, did they just take a little bit of inspiration and decide to make something a little bit inspired by it, or are they just trying to cut corners? I don't know. Obviously, as I said, the kind of overall feedback to Final Fantasy at the moment isn't great, so I wouldn't be surprised if they did try to cut corners. But yeah, I think it's definitely something to, worth talking about and worth kind of discussing, because it could be something that we see happen more in the future. And again, people were saying, I think it's great, I can finally be like Zentreya in the game and whatever. And sure, I do think that is great, but why not actually partner up with someone like Zen to do something like this? Obviously, there are so many, different games and things that want to partner up with VTubers at the moment. For example, Iron Mouse has partnered up with Warframe, and there's so many other people as well who have partnered up with their different favorite games like Doki Bird and Marvel Rivals, all of these kind of things. Why can't they partner up with Zentreya to release something like this and say, hey, we're partnering up with her, you guys can get this. And maybe even, she'll play the game on stream or whatever using the outfit. That would actually be better and more better off, rather than just going, okay, we're going to take that design and take some aspects of this design and put it into our thing. You could have went out and fully did it, because I'm sure that she probably would have been down for it. I mean, Final Fantasy is such a huge, IP. It, like, obviously not just the MMO and whatever, but also outside of it, all the other games. It's so huge. People love it. And I think that obviously it would have been a good collaboration for them to have, but for some reason they tried to avoid it. Maybe because they thought it would be too expensive, or it would take too much time or something. But again, I think it would have been better off if this was some kind of, joint collaboration or whatever between the two of them. But, obviously some companies just want to, take designs or whatever and, kind of pick the easy route. But again, I don't know. I think it's up to you again, just, kind of decide whether this is a Zentreya design or not. I think it is very, very heavily inspired at the minimum. I think that, there is many aspects here which I'd consider to be from Zentreya's VTuber model. But, many people are debating this, and many people are discussing whether they think this is also, a part of this. But hey, let me know down in the comments what you guys think about this, because again, I'm very interested in what you have to say. And yeah, that's about all I got for this video. If you guys did enjoy it, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. Also, go to GameSups, use my code Kazza, get 10% off. Again, they've got a ton of really cool stuff over there. Definitely recommend checking it out. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. That's all. See ya.